Welcome in, Scorpio, to Don Williams Tarot. This message is for Sun, Moon, and Rising placements in the sign of Scorpio. So if you have those placements, this message may be for you. However, keep in mind this is a general overall reading for Sun, Moon, and Rising placements in the sign of Scorpio. So take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If you are interested in doing a deeper dive as to what's going on with you and your life, I do provide private readings. My information is in the description box below. So Spirit has guided me to do this in my meditation when I sat down to ask what we should be doing for this next round of readings. And I got just a little bit more communication from the spirit world in terms of what spirit would like for you to know. And so I do have 4 questions here that I plan to ask, and I'm going to read on each question. And then you take that information and utilize it in whatever way you feel is necessary for you and your spiritual growth. Okay, so I'm going to just lay out your cards right off the bat. And I am doing 4 rows. So it's this way. Whoops, upside down. I flipped it accidentally. So I'm going to lay out your cards, and then I'm going to explain to you exactly what they all mean, what they're representing. Let's move you so I have more room for my cards. Okay. There is that, and this is the last row. Okay, Scorpio. So this is also what I'm going to do. I'm going to read your tarot. I'm also going to read 2 of the messages from the universe, as well as messages from the 4 agreements. As I do this portion of your reading, I'm going to take myself off screen so I can just focus on your cards and you can focus on them too. I would absolutely love it. If you're new to my channel, please give me a thumbs up. But also, more importantly, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe and click that little notification bell so that you get all of the notifications that will allow you to know when I've dropped content and also when I do my lives. Now, I'm recording this on, what's the date today? September the 9th. So this message really is it doesn't really have an ending date. So it's whenever you happen to come upon it is when it's meant for you. That's kind of the way spirit works. So keep that in mind. And also, even though the messages might not always feel as though they resonate, keep them in mind because it might not in this very moment, but as you're progressing and working through some things, it might hit you later on that, oh, yeah, that really does make sense. Okay. Okay, so let's take me off screen and then I'm going to dive right in and I'm going to explain what I'm doing. Okay, so this first column, and then my columns are going up and down this way. Okay, so this first column is what limiting beliefs are holding you back from reaching your potential. The second column, what spiritual lessons are you currently experiencing? The third column, how can you cultivate a healthier physical, spiritual balance? And your last column is what steps you can take to align with your life purpose. Okay? So the first column has to do with what limiting beliefs are holding you back from reaching your full potential. The only thing that I'm really seeing right here, so the strength card definitely for me is your inner strength. I want you to notice that she does have that little infinity signal right there on top on her arm above her head. Now, for me, that infinity signal is continuous flow of energy. And the other part of it is it represents the ups and downs in life, right? It's like you go up and then you come down, and then you go up and you come down. And that's kind of the energy that I'm picking up here. The other thing about the strength card is Strength is about your willpower. It's about your quiet strength, your graceful leadership. It's also my card of the gifted healer. It does represent a state of grace, and it does also talk about your ability to lead others by example. And for me, this is a beautiful spiritual card. So it feels as though, Scorpio, you are definitely really owning your sovereignty at this time. And this card, or this row here, is actually asking you what's holding you back from reaching your full potential. I do feel as though you are working that energy for yourselves. The only thing that I'm seeing here is the energy of physical security. Now, this is a Four of Pentacles. The fours represent stability and balance. When they are out of balance, would represent stagnation and depression. In this situation, as you can see, she's got her pentacles right here in front of her heart space. So it may be a situation where some of you are looking towards your wealth and physical security, which is a more important aspect for you to become a lot more comfortable in your life, right? We are all manifesting things. But at this time, it feels as though it may be, you might be really trying to pinch your pennies. You may be very cognizant, or you just might have a little bit of worry around your financial status or your financial capabilities at this time. Like it feels like to me, what Spirit is trying to say is that when you hang on to your money too tightly, what you're doing is you're squeezing off that energy. And so with that flow, remember I was talking about with the infinity sign, what goes up comes down and then comes back around, right? So it depends on how you lay that infinity sign, but it can also go up and down, right? Because I've seen that on some of the cards as well. But what it's really saying is, you really want to kind of release that fear, and that's exactly what it is, like hanging on to something because you're afraid that it's going to be lack. And so the abundance is the thing that is triggering this whole idea here, in terms of allowing yourself to expand and allowing yourself to express, and also realizing that the energies of this card is saying you just really need to trust that if you have to put money out, money will come back. Life is about a flow, right? And if you're hanging on and you are storing and you are hoarding and you are collecting, which we all do, I'm guilty of it too. It kind of dams up your ability to have things flow more freely. And it isn't a really big deal. It is a four, which is not that, it's a four, which means it's a minor arcana. So that energy is easily navigatable. That's probably the word. Now, the beautiful thing in this column is this Wheel of Fortune. And as you can see, our girl is on top of that wheel. She does have her lucky dice. She does feel as though she is on top of the world. What I do love about the Wheel of Fortune is that the wheel is talking about changes that happen all the time. One of the things you can always guarantee in your life are change. Change will always happen. But this is also a change in fate or a change in destiny. And this is a lucky break. This is saying that you are really working through your karmic lessons. It's also talking about a turning point in your life. And it's also saying that what you put out returns to you. It's kind of that give and take, that flow. So in the situation where your money would flow much more easily if you believed that once you gave it away, more would return back to you, right? And I know that is a mindset. It takes a while to cultivate that mindset, but that is the direction that Spirit is talking about for you at this time. Okay. Now, our second column has to do with what spiritual lessons are you currently experiencing? Now, one of them happens to be A new idea, a new creative passion may be brewing for you. Something is coming in for you to look at. Something is an opportunity that is going to allow you to flourish. It's going to spark your imagination. It is kind of an aha moment because it's right there in that third eye chakra kind of energy there. And this is really saying that your third eye, your ability to intuit, your ability to be able to see, right, beyond our limited capable eyes, right? Uh, this allows you to see much more clearly with spirit. And I feel as though many of you may be activating that third eye chakra right now at this time. And it may feel a little bit weird because, when you rise your Kundalini, and your Kundalini goes up your spinal column, it eventually will, that oil that travels up your spine does activate that pineal gland there. So if you don't know about the Christ oil activation, I would definitely have you research it or put a comment in the box below, and I'll be happy to explain more about the Christ oil activation. I do it every month. I started at the beginning of the year. And it is an opportunity for you to really activate and bring your whole system online so that you can come from a fully more integrated soul in this body. Your next card that's coming in is the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands for me, or the sevens, are about gaining experience and confidence. She is definitely in a protective bubble. So right away, one of the spiritual lessons that you're currently learning is to protect your space. Learning to discern what is true information for you compared to what things other people may be saying. You have to really understand that even though we are kind of in this spiritual war at this time, there is a lot of information out there. Some of it's true, a lot of it is false, some of it is disinformation to have you go down a rabbit hole, right? But if you look at her, she is like, you can even see that spark right there in her solar plexus, right in her heart space there. She does have that bubble. So she is in a place where she's really being protective. The other thing about this card is this is my card of success. It is my card of successes coming in, being recognized for those successes. If we were talking about your job space, I would say that you would be getting a lot of recognition at this time. And the other thing is also have to be aware of when you are getting recognition, there are always those people that may be jealous of you, right? Which would be another reason to be protective of your space. Now, the other thing that's coming in as a final card for this energy here is the Lovers. I absolutely love the Lovers card in this row. And the reason why is because the Lovers not only talk about partnerships and love, but the Lovers always talks about duality. It talks about your sexual attraction. It does also talk about creating healthy boundaries. And I feel as though even when we are in a love relationship, even if we are in a committed relationship of any kind, we always have to have those healthy boundaries. What I find that happens with a lot of women specifically, because I've done a bunch of readings on women, they have a tendency to go all in into a relationship where they get lost. They lose themselves within the relationship, and then they become defined by that relationship. And really, the message has always been, you want to be whole and full yourself. You have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. You have to be able to be complete and within yourself. And then when you are in a relationship, that relationship then complements your life. It doesn't fulfill you. You don't put all of, you know what I mean? It's that kind of energy because you have to be whole and true to yourself before you can even really totally give yourself to another. And you have to know what it is that you're looking for and wanting, right, out of life. Now, the other thing about the Lovers is that the Lovers is also about agreements between people. So they can be any kind of an agreement. It can be an assumed agreement. It can be, you have a conversation with someone and that other person understands exactly where you're coming from. And if you don't say, no, I do not want to do this, or I don't agree, it's assumed that you are in agreement with that person. So this is an opportunity for you to really feel a little bit more, take a little bit more time to be more in the moment in these conversations so you can actually figure out what you're agreeing to, um, in just regular communication with people. And that will help really level you up in terms of this. These are the things that I will accept, and these are the things that I will not. That is your really defining your clear boundaries there. So our next column has to do with how you can cultivate a healthier physical spiritual balance. Now, I really love the fact that the Hierophant is here in the very center. The Knight of Swords for me is my fastest moving knight. This guy is all about the way that he thinks and expresses with his words and his mind, his thoughts. He is running towards his dreams, right? So I feel as though at this point, this guy has decided he does not have to do any more thinking about it. He's already done all of that. Now he is racing towards his dream. He knows what he wants and he's going for it. So, Scorpio, I feel as though that's exactly what it's saying. Many of you have already gone through that process of figuring out what direction you want to go, how you can, learn your spiritual lessons. And a lot of it is just go for it, right? Just trusting and going. The Hierophant here, is that now if you look at this guy's totally blissed out. That's one of the reasons why I love this deck, because it really does have a lot of softer of the nuances of the tarot within it. So he's sitting, he is definitely doing his grounding work here. He has his spinal column, he's got his first chakra sitting on the ground. Some people do meditate that way. When I was taught to meditate, I was taught to meditate from a chair sitting up, instead of trying to do this like lotus thing that you do with your feet. But anyway, the Hierophant is that energy of inner wisdom, your own personal development, your being your own inner teacher, your own spiritual advice. And the thing about the Hierophant is that the Hierophant will share the wisdom that the Hierophant has with you. This is very intuitive, very spiritual, learning kind of a situation here. This guy definitely wants to climb his ascension ladder here, and he is very much connected to that. So he's raising his vibration up so he can start his ascension process. So I feel as though what's happening is many of you are doing your work. You are doing the meditation, whatever that means for you. Now, some people will sit down and meditate, for an hour at a time or whatever it is. There's so many different ways to clear your mind and to get in tune with your inner self. And meditation is one way to do that. I find though that I can do meditation just by doing my dishes, right? Because it's kind of like a mindless task. You've got your hands in water, you're standing, your feet are firmly on the ground, and you can just allow your mind to take you where your mind wants to go. A lot of times I get a lot of downloads when I'm doing my dishes. It's really funny, but that's the way it's always been for me. The Page of Wands is definitely a new opportunity coming in for you to also experience that physical spiritual balance. For her, she's very charismatic and she is doing the dance. So, what I really want to share with you, Scorpio, is you really need to get your body moving, get the energy flowing through your body, in whatever way that means. So just put on some music and allow yourself to dance. Or if you're a person that really loves to exercise, that would be a really good opportunity as well. Whatever it is that lights you up. And if you can see her, she's just full of joy. She's full of charisma, this energy. Pages are all about a new path or a new direction. And typically these are about messages coming in. But for me, what I'm picking up here is you need to get your body moving, whatever that represents for you, right? I feel as though if you do that, you'll be able to clear some of the stagnant energy within you. And you'll be able to clear some space and move forward in the direction of your life purpose. And what does that really mean, right? What does your life purpose mean? I think that by going within, the Hierophant is telling you that your answers are within you. I feel as we all kind of know, maybe we don't have a big, huge role like you see some people having, and we have to come to terms with the fact that we're not going to be the big major guru for everybody. What I am learning is many of those major gurus and many of like the major religious figures that we look up to are anything but, right? So just my 2 cents. Okay, so your last column has to do with what steps you can take to align with your life purpose. And that life purpose, it feels as though some of you may be feeling as though you've been left out in the cold. Some of you may be feeling as though you have no idea what direction you want to go. Fives are all about change. Some of you may be feeling like, how do other people know all this stuff and I don't? Or maybe it wasn't taught to you growing up. All I can tell you is that it wasn't taught to me either. I was awake when I was in my teens, and now I'm in my 60s. So I've been awake for a really long time. I had very few people growing up that I could talk to any of these things about. And I definitely felt that energy. The other thing that happens is maybe you are more further along on your path than other people around you, and that's okay. It isn't your job to, drag them to where you are. What you do is you be that example. You lead with that gentle, loving example approach, right? And also with that five, it is just saying that if you change your perspective, there is so much around you. The key is right here to open the door. And once you open that door and walk into that room, the whole universe will be open to you. You just got to get up and look around and see what is available to you at that time. Now, with that Nine of Swords, the Nine of Swords for me is that nightmare energy, or that's that feeling of, some people may be in the dark night of the soul. So some of you might be going through some really difficult times at this time, and you're trying to figure things out. And what happens is when you go into that, I'm speaking from my own experience here. I've had many dark nights of the soul because I've been through a lot of crap in my life. And when you go through these dark nights of the soul, it really allows you to release that fear. It allows you to realize that even though it may seem dark and you don't know the way out, if you recognize and realize that you are that dynamic spark, you are the one that is going to get you out of your current situations. You have the power, you have the energy, and it is up to you. Nobody's going to come and save you. You have to do the work yourself. And I feel as though you can clear all of that confusion up for yourself, right? Nines are about persevering. Swords are again about the way that you express with your mind and your thoughts and your words, right? And this is how we come to our decisions of things. So I do feel as though some of you may be confused. Some of you may be feeling as though, man, I am in the lowest point of my life. And what I will say to you is that you are going to express, because you went from the Nine of Swords to the Page. The Page, of course, is also saying to you that education, ideas, wisdom will come to you. The card is a gold card. You definitely have got this. It is definitely saying that it might feel as though you are doing the tight walk, right? On that sword. Do you see that sword she's walking across, right? Thoughts and expression. But this is really saying you need to do the work. You need to dive deep. You need to look at those things. What is it that really attracts you to the idea of aligning with your life purpose? And then the other thing is, I would definitely say, when you're looking at this energy, you have that idea. you have the Hierophant, which is saying that you are your own inner guru, and a lot of information is going to flow up through you. Things are going to start opening up in your mind, and you're going to start questioning whether or not what's coming towards you is authentic and real. And if you do some deep diving on those thoughts, you're going to find out how really intuitive and psychic you are. So overall, everything looks really good. I actually really liked this layout. So I'm very thankful, Spirit, for the suggestion of this work. And now I'm going to read you your last couple of cards. Your first one is be impeccable with your words, cultivate faith. That's exactly what some of this is saying here that I've talked about. To have great faith is to have great power because your intent, your will is undivided. When your word isn't dissipated by doubt, the power of your word becomes even stronger. So I agree with that. I think that's a good one. And the second card is don't make assumptions and relinquish the need to change others. I think that is such a big message. Because we have a tendency to think that we can, especially ladies, think, oh, you know, he's so cute and he's got this thing wrong with him and I can fix him. Wrong. The message reads, real love is accepting other people the way they are without trying to change them. If we try to change them, this means that we don't really like them. It is easier to find someone who is already the way you want him to be, him or her to be, instead of trying to change that person. I absolutely love this card. I think I'm going to use this as a short because I think that's a really good message. Let's do it that way. Okay, message from the universe. Every situation in life is temporary. So when life is good, make sure you enjoy and receive it fully. When life is not so good, remember that it will not last forever and better days are on the way. Again, it's that infinity sign because once you go up, you don't want to come back down, but it does happen because that's the way life is. We're very cyclical, aren't we? That's the way the universe is created, I think. And then your last card is when you hold on to the past, it stops you from living in the present. Release any old hurts or worries or regrets. And this is what we're talking about with this Nine of Swords, right? That Nine of Swords is definitely this energy they're talking about in this card. And it's saying, commit to being in the here and now. Forgive yourself for where you think you may have been wrong. And you deserve inner peace, so let it go. And I completely agree with this message 100%. You can't keep beating yourself up over the mistakes or the failures that you've had in your past. You have to change the way that you think about them and realize that it was all learning lessons. And, you know, did you keep repeating the same lesson over and over? And if you did, it's because you didn't learn the lesson. Once you learn the lesson goes away. Okay, Scorpio. I absolutely love this reading. I'm surprised that it did I just felt like the whole thing flowed really well. If you made it this far, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. Would absolutely love to have you join me. And until next time, take very good care of you. Do some self-care. And I hope these messages helped you. I would love to hear your feedback. And I read all your messages and respond. So till next time, cheers.